What is going on, everybody? Destiny and I are joined today by Richard Israel. Richard, I got to say, I'm a big fan of Revenge of the Nerds 3, which is one of the reasons I reached out to you. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Always a pleasure to speak with a fan.
So, what made you want to be an actor?
Oh my God, the questions begin. It's like I sort of a typical story. My sister was in the school musical when she was in sixth grade and I was in first, and I saw it and I thought it was cool, and so I just started doing school plays. And it was fun and I enjoyed it and I found my people. And so I did that through all of primary school and secondary school. And then when I went to college, it was either theater or architecture. And I got cast as a freshman, which was at the time, like, not a thing that really happened. So I was like, oh my God, I must be amazing. So I majored in musical theater and got my BFA in musical theater. Just kind of an early age, like the success of a public school education that actually had an arts program. So that's where that all started.
That's awesome. What was your first audition process like the auditioning process?
Oh my God, who could even remember? I mean, I don't think anything out of the ordinary. I mean, like first meaning like in school?
No, in general.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a standard issue, I would say. I mean, when I was in college, university programs are just weird because they're very insular, and they're actually on some level, the competitive quality of them is much greater than actually in the world, because it's like this finite pool of people. And it's like in the world, it's like, okay, it's me, I'm up against hundreds of other people. But like in a university situation or any kind of system, it's like, what's that guy doing here? It's like I did pretty well, and I did find my way to musical theater, which I'm still doing now. So that's great. And then when I came to LA and I was doing more film and TV, it was, I mean, it's so different now because everything is virtual, but at the time it was like, I just remember so much of my life was on the freeway, and it was literally, you were just like, okay, I live in Mid-Wilshire. I have to go to my day job, which is in Culver City. And then I have this audition in Studio City at 11. And then I'm going to go back to my day job in Culver City. But then I have another thing in Santa Monica at 4. And anytime you're going to Santa Monica after like 2:00 in the afternoon, your day is just gone. So it, like, that audition process was really, it was more about like routing and time management than kind of anything else. And in retrospect, it was really fun, because the thing that I think we miss now with virtual auditioning is that you'd go to these in-person auditions, especially for commercials, and you'd see the same guys over and over again. Like, there were just like 25 of us, like nerdy guys in glasses who were skinny, and you would see the same guys, and it really didn't feel competitive, because it's like they were kind of friends. And so there was a real camaraderie to it. And then when I sort of morphed into doing more theater in LA, it was that times 10, because it's a much smaller world. And I actually loved auditioning for theater in LA. Just because like the waiting rooms were like super duper fun. So I'm sure at the time I hated it, but I look back on it with real fondness, because it just felt like a party most of the time. And I also was like, I was never the person who was like, if I don't get this job, how will I pay my rent? Like, I always hedged my bets, which means that it wasn't a life or death thing for me. I wanted it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so screwed if I don't get this, which I think made a difference in how I approached it.
Definitely. It helps when it's you want it because you want it, not because you need it.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's a great way of putting it.
And theater kids are so much fun. So
well, not all, but most.
Like all things, there's the bad ones, but
yes,
it's usually really fun. Jason mentioned being a real big fan of Revenge of the Nerds 3, and really the entire series. But you came in the third. How did it feel stepping into a role that had already kind of had to before, and stepping into that world and continuing it? How did that feel?
Oh my! This is so funny, you guys. These. I love talking about this. You're really asking me to go back because we're talking about 34 years ago. I think well, I mean, the good news is that if memory serves, Bobby Carradine, who sort of originated it, he was in the one that I was in, sort of. It was like Nerds Next Generation kind of thing. So I think I watched the first two just to like get my head around it, and I think if I remember in the audition, like I think I did kind of what he did, but a much more worried version of him. And I think they latched on to the fact that like I could do worry and anxiety really well. But it didn't feel pressury. Like it didn't feel like, oh my God, I must carry on the fine tradition of Robert Carradine in the role of whatever from Revenge of the Nerds. Like, and the director, again, this is going back so far, but he was super cool and he was new to the franchise as well. And so it was me and this other dude, Greg Binkley, who's a wonderful actor and a really great guy. And so we were both sort of stepping into these roles. And so we became friends quickly and we both were like, here we go. So it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of easy. And everybody was really cool. And there's also something about like doing a Nerds movie where it's like, we know exactly what this is. So I think that helped the vibe a lot, where like it wasn't that expectations were low, but it was just like we know where we sit on the food chain, and I think that helped the stress level a lot.
Yeah, those movies made me want to be a nerd, and well, I succeeded.
Congrats.
But we
And
actually
our
have
work here is done.
Greg coming on next week to talk about his career as well. But like you seriously are a staple of my childhood. Saved by the Bell. Not Police Academy 7, which I also absolutely love. What's some of the roles that you've enjoyed throughout your career?
That's a great question. The one that I enjoyed the most that nobody kind of really knows about, there was a show in 1992 called Freshman Dorm, and they were sort of latching on to the Beverly Hills 90210 thing. So it was CBS's stab at that. And they cast me as it was my first, well, kind of I think my only series regular. I think I was hired as a co-star actually, and as the episodes went on, and there were only 6, but as the episodes went on, they actually started to write to my voice a little bit, and I'd never had that happen. And so it got easier as it went on because it's like, oh, I don't have to put on anything. Like they're just writing for me now, sort of in a way. And it was great. And we shot out at Whittier College. God, you're bringing up all these really great, like early 90s memories. We shot at Whittier College and it was like in the drama department of the college. And so like we shot all of our scenes like in the theater at Whittier, which is gorgeous. And it was such a blast because it was just a group of friends kind of. And to know that the writers were like, hey, whatever you're selling, we're buying. And we really dig this. And we actually think that there's a place for you inside of this system was really great. And then they programmed it against the both political conventions back in the day when people actually cared about political conventions and watched them. And the numbers just tanked. And CBS was like, thanks, bye. But that was my favorite because it was just fun and easy, and it felt like being in a play. Actually,
I'm gonna need to look that up because it's also got Matthew Fox, Robin Lively, Jenna Elfman. Like it's fantastic.
It was great, and Robin Lively and my character like had a little crush on Robin Lively, and we got really like it's so weird because it's a time of my life where it's like, oh my God, there was a time when Robin Lively and I were very close, and it's just such a weird. It's just a weird thing, but I really dug it. It was great.
That's great. Robin's a doll.
Yeah.
Met her last year. Absolutely adore her. Fun question. There's been a lot of changes in comedy between like the 80s and now comedy, but Nerds versus Jocks, that's kind of stayed. But what do you think's changed the most between the comedies?
Oh wow, I would have to think about that. I don't know. I don't really know because, to be very honest with you, I don't consume a lot of. I just don't consume a lot of film and TV at the moment. I mean, we're obviously like there's the biggies, but I actually it's such a great question, and I don't know because I do think that like the kind of comedy that was existent in like Revenge of the Nerds and Police Academy, like that's still there.
Yeah.
There's still stuff that does that. So I don't know that comedy with a capital C has changed. I think there's just way more places to consume it, and I think there are. I would say that like you know, and I don't even know if this is a change. It's just that like if you are looking for like a nerd style sort of heightened, sort of a little bit less dimensional comedy, you can find it. And if you're looking for something that is more sophisticated, you can find it. And if you're looking for like a standard issue 3-camera sitcom, you can still find it. So I don't know that it's changed per se. I just think the way we consume it has changed.
You
That's a good
mentioned
answer, yeah.
theater, musical theater. Do you have a favorite production you've done over the course of the last few years or many years?
Yeah, I do, which is weird because I think most people are like, I love all my children, and I do, but I directed a production of a musical called Floyd Collins in 2005, and I did it at a very small theater that I managed, and we did it in just like a really small space under a really low ceiling, but I was super duper proud of it, and it just got a lot of attention, and it's the thing that I think really kicked off my directing career. So that's my favorite. And then I got the opportunity, I was really lucky. I got the opportunity to bring not that production, but I just did that show again in a much larger venue in 2014. And so to be able, and so it was cool to sort of mile mark. The first production was really the beginning of my directing career. The second one was like, oh, things are really going. Like I am a director of musical theater in Los Angeles, California, and I'm making my living doing that. And so to be able to mile mark the arc of my career was actually really cool.
That's awesome. What got you to come back for Big Little Lies? Because it looks like you took a little break from in front of the camera.
Oh, I love this because you make it sound like it was so intentional, and like I wish it were that intentional. I wish that it was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to step away from this. And then I'm going to like grow, and then I'm going to come back to it when I'm ready. And like, I wish all of that were true, but it was much more accidental than that. But Big Little Lies was a total gift and completely out of the clear blue sky. I had directed a production of Avenue Q at a 99-seat theater in Hollywood that I was really proud of, and it did great.
I love Avenue Q.
It's you can't not, and
Yeah.
I was super proud of the production, and it extended a bunch of times, and it made them I don't know if it made them a bunch of money, but it did not lose money. And Jeff Marks, one of the creators of Avenue Q, came and saw it, and he is very, very good about attending productions of that show. And he saw it and he loved it, and he came back 3 times.
Wow.
And was very gracious and very complimentary and really generous. And then he and I got involved in a project that we were working on together as a result of that. And then I think about a year and a half or 2 years after I did Avenue Q, I got a call from a production company, and they were like, "Hey, we're doing this show that this streaming show, and there is an Avenue Q sequence. And when we got the rights to do Avenue Q, they actually connected us with Jeff Marks because he lives in LA. And we asked Jeff Marks, like, hey, we actually need a director to direct these sequences. Do you know anybody? And Jeff was like, I actually do. And so they reached out to me, and it was supposed to be like 2 days, and it ended up being spotty, but 6 months worth of coming back to do shoot these Avenue Q sequences. And it was, and I was able to like call my friends who had done the show in Hollywood and add in some people. And we were shooting at a theater in Hollywood that I was very familiar with. So it was a blast. Yeah, super random because I have like this fairly extensive theater resume, and then there's this one like, oh, by the way, he also did Big Little Lies. So it's like a weird but lovely outlier on my resume.
Love it.
So what are you up to now?
I'm directing. I do mostly original musicals. So I'm a director / dramaturg. So I work with writing teams who are in various stages of development on new musicals. I have a show that I've been working on for about 6 years that we did the world premiere in London in July. And we're figuring out next steps for that. Hopefully something in New York. I just opened a show in Hollywood. I went back to LA for a month to open a new musical called Kid Gloves at a 99-seat theater there. And that's a show I've been working on for about 5 years. And then I have a couple, like 2 or 3 other things that are just kind of gestating, figuring themselves out. And then I'm going back to LA in June to do a concert of a Duncan Sheik, Steven Sater piece called Alice by Heart. They're the guys that did Spring Awakening, and it's their iteration of Alice in Wonderland. And then I'm doing a pretty big production of The Wizard of Oz at a theater in Thousand Oaks, California, that I work at basically every summer. I go back to LA to do that. So there's stuff. There's like cool stuff, and it's a nice mix of stuff that people know about and stuff that nobody has ever heard of, but hopefully will.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love musical theater, so
Excellent.
I'll look into all of it.
Amazing.
Well, before we let you go, I have to ask. I know we're taking you back again, but what was it like working on Saved by the Bell?
Oh my God.
You were one of the 7 dorks, right?
I was. Oh my God. You have done. I'm a little worried about you now, Jason. Actually.
Like I said, man, a fan.
You're freaking me out. It was, you know what? Listen, I mean, it was fun. And what I will say is that like a show like that, like you were just talking about like the nerds versus the jocks. So on a show like that, it actually was kind of the nerds versus the jocks. And the jocks were the people who were the regulars who were like in all of the, like at the time, teen magazines. And then it was like us day players who actually were literally playing nerds who just were like visitors and like kind of knew what we were doing, but kind of not really. And they didn't pay a ton of attention to us. And it was fun. And it was also, again, like Saved by the Bell, which is, you know, it is a beloved sort of American icon. And I love that for it. And, you know, it's like the broadest of broad stroke. So, you know, it's like watch Snow White and the 7 Dorks and you will know what I'm talking about. So it was just like pretty over the top and pretty like the amount of like goop that they had in my hair was like ridiculous. And it was literally like the tape on the glasses and the whole thing. And it was just like, okay, you know, 4 years of BFA musical theater, here I am. It was I will say it was fun. And I did like, you know, again, it's like, we're all here. We know what we're doing. And I did 7 episodes of that show. So it was like, it was a good, and I did it like my 2nd year in LA. So I was sort of fresh off the boat and I like booked this thing and then the phone would ring and my agent would be like, yeah, they need you back next week. And it's like, oh, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Really cool. I guess I'm going to be standing in front of a locker for another week. Great. If you look at my demo reel from like the early days, it's literally just different iterations of me in front of a locker. It's like 2.5 minutes of me in front of a locker. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, there was fun days.
Thank you, Richard. Where can everybody find you online?
I'm at Richard Israel on Instagram, and my website is richardisraeldirector.com.
All right, everybody, go check it out.
Perfect.
I'll put the link down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Amazing. Thanks, you guys. What a pleasure.